Great. So hopefully everyone's managed to settle in to our virtual open day. We are going to present three programs today, which are the three programs that we run out of our Institute for Sustainable Resources: the Economics and Policy of Energy and the Environment, Business and Sustainability MSc, and Sustainable Resources, Economics, Policy and Transitions. So we're going to talk about all of those three individually. But before we do that, we're just going to provide a little introduction to what we do, why we're here, and the sort of stuff that you can look forward to if you come and join us on one of our programs. So I'm Dr. Catherine Willan. I'm the program director for the first one of those programs, Economics and Policy of Energy and the Environment, and I'm going to be talking about that. But I'm also going to be doing the introduction. And when I finish doing those things, my colleagues from the other programs will be talking about what they do as well. So I wanted to start with why we're here, why we in the Institute for Sustainable Resources are here, and hopefully why you're here as well. And the reason is that there are some really substantial sustainability challenges out there. The global environment, as we know, has got is not in a good place. I could have put a whole series of different things up there. I've happened to pick some statistics around the issues we've been having with extreme heat over the past year or so, all around the world. I mean, even in places like England, which is not known for being particularly hot and sunny. And what that means is that you see a lot of noise in the media, in politics, around things that people think should or shouldn't be done to counteract those challenges. And what we need if we're going to develop solutions, and we like to be solutions orientated, is people who understand those problems in depth, who have the knowledge and the skills to help the public and private sector respond effectively. And really that's fundamentally what we do. Yeah, we are here to help train you with those knowledge and skills to provide informed and expert solutions to the challenges that we face. Now, the good news is that the global pool of green talent, people with sustainability solutions, has been growing, but we still don't have enough for what we need to do. And the data here is something that I put on from LinkedIn. And what their Green Jobs report shows is that nearly 8% of all job postings on LinkedIn require green skills of some sort. But there aren't enough of them. Yeah, LinkedIn thinks that by 2030, so in 4 or 5 years' time, we're going to have a gap between the skills that we need and the supply of people who have them of getting close to 20%, which means that if you do have sustainability skills, you should see a significantly higher hiring rate. We see that in our data. So UCL gathers data on what our graduates do after they finish our programs. And I've put some statistics here from people who've been on the programs that we're talking about today. And our graduates, when they leave us, go on and put their knowledge into practice in what we call highly skilled employment. And they do that around the world. They do that in at least 36 countries around the world because our students are a very global group. And they go on to a really wide variety of different careers. So professional and technical activities, so the sort of things we talk about when we think about highly skilled employment. We see a range of sectors. So accountancy, financial services, banking and investment feature. Consultancy is another popular career destination for our graduates, but we also have a lot who go on to policy, government, and the third sector, whether it's working in charities, NGOs, or international development. And we also see, as you'd expect, students going on to specialist roles in energy, natural resources, and the environment. The thing that isn't on there is students who go on to do PhDs as well. And we have a lot of students who go on to top programs for further study after completing the MSc. We also wanted to take a little bit of time to introduce us, who we are. So UCL is obviously a very well-known international university. The faculty that we sit in is the Bartlett faculty of the Built Environment, which is ranked globally #1 in the world for several years running now. The built environment, what is that? It's the world that we make as people. So it could be buildings, it could be infrastructure, energy systems, transport systems, the sort of things that use energy and resources, and therefore create some of the sustainability challenges that we were talking about at the beginning. Our institute, the Institute for Sustainable Resources, sits within that. We are a faculty of global experts that provide evidence, expertise, and training to respond to climate change, but also sustainable transitions more widely. What that means, I think, is that you get a really nice balance. So we're a small specialist institute. Everyone at the Institute for Sustainable Resources is really passionate about sustainability. It's what we do. It's what we all do. And you'll get to know us quite well because we are quite small. And actually, one of the students a couple of weeks ago was telling me how pleased she was about how welcoming and approachable our staff are. So you get that. But you also get the benefit of UCL, which is a huge university. So large amount of resources, lots of events going on, you know, all the kind of resources that you'd expect from a really large institution. So you get, I think, that really nice balance between the big and the small. There are a few more things I wanted to point out about what we try and do. One of the things is that we've been doing this for a long time now. So it's at least 10 years since we've been running sustainability programs in the Institute for Sustainable Resources. So we've got a lot of experience in doing what we do. We know that sustainability is a very dynamic sector. So obviously we grow and adapt our programs each year to respond to that. And I've put our programs are exceptional on there. Not because, well, I suppose because I'm trying to big up what we do, but really it's because it's what our students said. So we gather feedback from our students and the feedback was really good last year. So that's coming from them and not from us. We're multidisciplinary. And this, I think, is really important. So I talked about the Institute for Sustainable Resources being all around sustainability. We are mission driven. It's what we do. So we are not an engineering department, a business school or an economics department that happens to do a bit of sustainability. Sustainability is what we do. But we have that multidisciplinary background of UCL with us. So you get a real breadth in what you can learn, all sorts of different subjects that our staff are experts in. And that I think you'll come and see when we talk about the modules that we offer on each of the courses. As I mentioned, UCL is a really well-known university, so we have people who know what they are talking about. Our faculty are experts in what they do, and when you come out at the end of the course with your MSc, you should have confidence that that qualification has a real value in the marketplace. It does mean, of course, that you're going to need to work hard. We're going to stretch you. We're going to develop what we call disruptive thinking, so thinking innovatively, thinking differently. And all of that gives you opportunity. So as you can see, our students, our alumni go on to a variety of different career paths around the world. But whilst they're with us, we're located in London, and that's a pretty fun place to spend a year. So the final slide I wanted to say about what all three programs offer is really that I guess we're trying to do three different sets of things. As I said already, we're looking to give you knowledge. We want you to be experts. So you go on and make those informed decisions around sustainability. And that might be in business, might be in policy, it might be in the environment, and it might be around those socio-economic aspects that are so important as well. We want to push you to think. We want to push you to think critically. We want to push you to think in systems about how things connect to each other. And we want you to look forward as well, planning for the future. And when you do those things, you develop a whole load of other skills as well that are really transferable in terms of your future career. Things like problem solving, collaboration, communication, reflection, and leadership. So that's my introduction to the things that we do in the Institute for Sustainable Resources. What we want to do next is talk through the three programs, one after the other. Hopefully when we've done that, we'll have some chance for you to ask questions when you've heard from us. So, as I said, I'm Catherine Willen. I run the Economics and Policy of Energy and the Environment MSc, along with my colleague Nikos. We've got a really long name. It's not easy to say. It's because we do all these things. We do economics, we do policy, we do a lot of energy, and we talk about the connections to the environment. Because it's difficult to say, though, we tend to call it EPE. So that's how I'm going to be talking about it today. Postgraduate program is a year, a pretty intense year, 3 terms. In the first term, you're going to be doing 4 core modules if you're taking EPE. So everyone is doing the same thing. And you're going to be doing a research concepts and methods module as well to give you the skills that you need for the other modules. The reason for doing that is that you all come from different backgrounds. So we need you to all take the same things in term 1, so you're all in the same place, all in the same good position at the end of term 1. And you also get to know each other together as a group, which is nice. In the second term, you choose from 3 optional modules and you carry on with your research concepts and methods. So here you get to choose a little bit more of the direction that you want to take through the course. And then in term 3, you do a dissertation, which is a substantial piece of your own research. So what you can see is that the year is structured in EPE so that you gradually specialize, you gradually find your own interests as you go through those 3 terms with us. Term 1 runs from end of September, October to December, and here are the core modules. So the EPE core modules are Environmental and Resource Economics, Introduction to Energy Modelling and Scenarios, Environmental Measurement, Assessment and Law, and Planetary Economics and the Political Economy of Energy and Climate Change, as well as the research concepts and methods that I was talking about. So everyone is doing those 5 modules. In term 2, from January through to March, you choose 3 optional modules from a list that looks something like this. So this is a sort of reasonably typical selection of what you might have on offer. As you can see, there is a lot of choice. So this is where the breadth and the depth that I was talking about really comes to play. We don't tell you what to take. It's up to you. There are no prescribed routes on this program, so you can pick and choose. You can, if you like, dive in deep to the more quantitative aspects. So we've got econometrics, economic methods, looking perhaps in depth at modelling, for instance, which is one of the things that UCL has a real strength in. You could, if you like, look more into policy angles, look at policy and innovation, developing countries, innovation. You might want to look more at private sector aspects through business, finance, or energy business models, or you might want to look at behavior through whether through an economic aspect or through people's choices. So it really is up to you. The final thing that you do is your dissertation. So here students can really dive in deep to something that they're really interested in. This is a selection of titles from the cohort that's just graduating. So you can see that someone looked at shareholder capital allocation in oil and gas. Someone looked at ESG disclosures in the US. We had global coal phase out policy and workforce justice, optimal bidding for battery energy storage in the UK, and nudges in residential energy behaviour, which, as you can see, picks up on a whole load of different themes throughout the course, different topics, and different methods as well. So students showcasing different skills that they've gained there. We do appreciate, I appreciate this a little bit high level. So if you want to think a little bit more about what you're doing on EPE on a day-to-day basis, this is what a week in EPE looks like. So it's reading week at the moment. The students having a rest this week. But what they did last week, before reading week, was quite a bunch of different stuff. Our students attended a research showcase. We had an event in the Institute for Sustainable Resources. Our PhD students were presenting the work. Our research groups were there. Our MSc students were there. We shared pizza and talked about research. The students also came to a sustainability consulting careers event, and the photo that I've got on this slide is a photo of the consulting careers event. Those are our actual students from the different MSCs. It comes from our LinkedIn page. In class, the students were doing quite a few different things. They were appraising sustainability indicators using a case study of the water energy nexus in Brazil. In energy economics, they were doing some assessment practice so that they don't just go into the exam. They've had lots of opportunity for practice and feedback, which is really important that we give our students. In research concepts and methods, the students are writing a literature review around sustainability with AI. So they had a really good debate last week around what AI can and can't do well. Can it clarify? Can it judge? Can it infer? Lots of opinions on that. In the modelling class, the students were looking at uncertainty, and they had a practical exercise trying out climate scenario formulation. And then in planetary economics, they were talking about the international response to climate change. I'm looking forward to COP, which is obviously very much in the media this month. And they did an exercise around pricing carbon. How does one calculate the social cost of carbon? So hopefully that gives you a little bit more for a feeling of how those modules might play out in practice. If that is the kind of thing you want to do with your week, then please do apply. We are looking for a minimum upper second class UK bachelor's or the overseas equivalent of that in economics or a STEM subject, because the course obviously has a quantitative component to it. If you don't have that quantitative background, we do have students with politics, international relations, geography degrees and other degrees, but those students need to be able to have demonstrated an aptitude for quantitative analysis, whether through your minor, some of the optional modules you've done in your degree, your dissertation, or perhaps school or work experience. What's really important is that you tell us about your motivation and interest for the programme, because we want motivated and interested students, and we do have a level 2 English requirement. Applications are open until 26th of June or 28th of August if you don't need a visa. We do get a really large number of applications, so we would recommend you don't wait until then and you apply earlier than that through our graduate prospectus. Okay, thank you very much for listening to me talking for so long. I want to hand over to my colleagues who are going to talk about the next programme.
Yeah.
Stuti,
Got it.
I
Thank
think
you.
that's you.
Thank you so much, Catherine, for that wonderful overview of the EPE MSc. Welcome, everyone. My name is Dr. Stuti Rawat, and I'm the Deputy Program Director of the Business and Sustainability MSc. That's the second MSc which the Institute of Sustainable Resources offers. I'm joined here today in this call by Dr. Simone Senchi. He's sitting next to me, which is why this is magic. I'm muted, but you can hear audio coming out. But yeah, we're really excited to present to you a little bit more about the Business and Sustainability MSc. Dr. Samuel Tyne is our program director, and he's a great leader. So what is the MSc in Business and Sustainability about? The idea behind the Business and Sustainability MSc is not to just produce sustainability officers or find specific roles in business. Rather, what we're trying to do is develop graduates who have a set of competencies that can, and also a level of knowledge which can allow them to make decisions that lead businesses towards a just, sustainable transformation. So this program has been designed to provide graduates with key sustainability knowledge from a local as well as a global perspective, touching upon different things related to businesses. To tell you a little bit about the structure of the program, so we have similar to the EPE MSc, you have the programs stretches out over 3 terms. In the first term, you learn about the business case for sustainability. What are the approaches to address the sustainability gap in businesses? How to consider sustainability from a strategic perspective. And you also acquire knowledge of how to use data to support decision making in the business context. And then you come to term 2. In term 2, you go a bit deeper where you're looking at business sustainability, how it operates in different contexts globally, the role of finance, the role of technology and innovation in meeting the different sustainable development goals, the nexus with public policies, both nationally as well as internationally, and exploring sustainable business in practice. As you go through term 1, term 2, term 3, the running theme is the Business and Sustainability Capstone Project, where you start thinking about this one specific topic related to business and sustainability, which you want to go a bit deeper in. So from term 1 to term 2, you start to brainstorm about it, what that particular topic could be, how could you approach it. And then when it finally comes to term 3, which is this period between April to August for the Business and Sustainability MSc, that's when you devote all of your time and attention towards working on that specific business and sustainability problem that you've identified, and collect your data to analyze it, write it up, and present it depending on the sort of report you choose to write. My colleague Simone will be talking to you a little bit more about the capstone project, but the one underlying thread through the way the entire program is structured is that collectively over the MSc journey, the 8 core modules that you have are are in a sense designed to equip you with the skills, the attributes, and the values you need to thrive in your chosen workplace, whilst also making a positive contribution towards solving the world's problem. And in the act of doing this through the different assessments we've designed, you reflect on your own actions and values in consideration of both current as well as future environmental, social, and economic impacts. We encourage you to think critically about uh, current training systems of thinking, and we'll also be engaging you in visualization mapping exercises that will bring you a step closer towards solving complex problems. And all of this to enable you to assess and measure sustainability so you can help develop organizations and also help lead in the business and sustainability space. So the capstone project, and this is where I hand over the floor to Simone.
Thank you, Stuti. Katrin, can you go to next slide, please? Yeah, so as Stuti said, as part of the program, you will have to complete a final dissertation over the summer. And this is a particularly nice opportunity because, you don't have to sit in class, you can just think and work on a project that you choose. And as you might notice, we don't call this a dissertation, we call this a capstone project, which is slightly different. And the main difference is that you can choose the type of audience you're going to talk to with your project. And the 3 audiences that you can choose from are research, policy, and business. And this is because you will have the opportunity then to choose the type of writing and the type of research methods that most suit your skill and interest, because this is really an opportunity for you to start working really on what you would like to do next. Importantly, some students will have the opportunity to work on their capstone project with an external organization. This includes business organization, charities, and NGO. This is a competitive selective process, but it's also one of the advantages of enrolling a master's program in London, which is a fun city, but it's also a very exciting hub where you get to meet a lot of interesting people that work on a very wide variety range of topics. So in next slide, there are just a few examples of past projects. And really, these showcase the wide range of topics that our students work on. And these topics include, for example, without listing them all, some research on natural capital and real estate, a little bit of biodiversity finance, carbon emission trading policies, and the circular economy. And these variants that you see in topics really reflect the different topics that you'll be learning during your program, but also the expertise that we have here in the Institute for Sustainable Resources and UCL, and how we can support you the most. And now I give it back to Studi to talk about admission a little bit.
Thank you so much, Simone. Thanks, Catherine. So we would encourage you to apply as early as you can. So applications to the programs are highly competitive. So although the final application deadline is June 26th, in case you have a visa requirement, and for applicants without a visa requirement, the application deadline is August 28th. But I would encourage everyone to apply sooner rather than later. In terms of the minimums, we do welcome applications from all disciplines. The entry requirement is set at a first or upper second class UK bachelor's degree in any discipline or its overseas equivalent. There's also an English language requirement of level 2. But when it comes specifically to what we're looking for when we look at candidates applying to the Business and Sustainability MSc, I think we're really looking to find sustainability leaders who can lead the transformation in and around businesses. And which is why it's very important for you to put some thought into what you write in your personal case statement. Clearly explain why you're interested in studying business and sustainability, what your motivation, what your interest is, why you're studying this topic now, what are the skills and knowledge that you can draw from previous experiences that will help you help you be more successful in this chosen career path. Is there any, and then we also want to learn what you think specifically of the MSc. So have you identified particular modules in the program that catch your eye? How do you anticipate that that fits with your future career? If you have work experience, tell us a little, be specific about what you did. How did you give us example of sort of how you helped a team complete a particular project? What was it that you did in that project? And also, finally, when you talk about your career plans, explain what your future career plans are, how this MSc fits with those plans, and think about the different opportunities that may be of interest to you and how they relate to what the MSc has on offer. And like I said, when you do submit your application, do take some time to carefully review it, make sure everything is correct, and submit much well in advance of the deadline. And of course, as Catherine said earlier, we're around for questions once all the presentations are done. Invite Francesca to talk to the audience about the third ISR MSc program.
Thank you. Thanks, Diti. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Francesca Kilpatrick, and I am the program lead of the third program we'll be talking about today, which is Sustainable Resources, Economics, Policy and Transitions Masters. Next slide, please. So like the other two programs, or particularly like EPI, we like to build up your skill development over the course of the year. So we start with 4 core modules in kind of introduction to sustainable resources, foundations of environmental economics, policies, and some evaluation tools for measuring and assessing kind of resource use within different contexts. In our second term, we then move on to some more advanced kind of resource economics and policy, and looking at sort of how we transition from where we are now to where we would like to be in terms of resources and resource use and sustainable resource use in our societies today. We then have 2 optional modules. So again, you can choose from a huge range of modules there, and we'll talk a little bit more about those in a moment. And finally, the third part of the year in term 3 and then throughout the summer, students work on a dissertation project, which is a big piece of original work, which allows you to really develop your expertise and your interest in one area. And we have from many of our alumni have said that they found that dissertation process particularly useful when applying for jobs after they graduate, as it is a demonstration that they've already completed a significant piece of work in their chosen area. So you'll see that from the modules that are visible here. So this program has a focus more on resources than the other 2 programs. We're looking really at sort of land and water, critical minerals. We do look at energy, but sort of as part of a kind of resource nexus perspective. If you, next slide, please. So the optional modules really allow you to select which kind of areas within that you would like to specialize in. Again, we have some which are more quantitative and technical, where you can get particular training in, for example, the use of life cycle assessment as a tool for assessing sustainable resource use. If you're interested in kind of policy and governance, for example, working for NGOs, we have resource governance in the Global South. We have modules on innovation and sustainable entrepreneurship. We have a great module on risk management in natural resource projects. And most, if not all, of these programs will have guest lecturers from industry to deliver to you kind of industry insights and also examples of what it's really like working there on the ground, on the kind of front line of dealing with these resource challenges that we face. Next slide, please. So like Catherine, I just want to tell you a little bit about what our students did last week. So as we said, we had this research showcase and Institute for Sustainable Resources careers event, where we talked to where the students were able to talk to alumni about their what they're doing now and how they got there, and get some ideas about how they might like to pursue their own careers. In class, the students modelled the environmental impact of lithium-ion batteries using life cycle assessment and material flow analysis, which are two of the techniques that they've been learning this term. They appraised drivers of, and crucially solutions to, kind of land water crises using international case studies, such as Uganda and Ethiopia. They debated the utility of market-based instruments for pollution control. They designed new policy standards for things like sustainable fashion and e-waste. And finally, in their research skills dissertation module, they tested their critical thinking skills by looking at AI-produced research outputs and critiquing them and improving them. So as you can see, just a huge range of things every week, and hopefully developing people in a holistic way towards producing very competent, capable professionals in whatever body they get into. Thanks. Next slide, please. So if you would like to work in sustainable resources, or you have an interest in this master's, again, our application dates are right there, the 26th of June if you require a visa to study in the UK, and the 28th of August if you do not require a visa. We do, again, see a lot of applications, especially near the end of the period. So if you want to have the best chance to get a place, I strongly recommend applying early in the application cycle. We do require a 2:1 or above equivalent to a UK bachelor's degree, and English level 2, the same as the others. Ideally, we would like you to have a first degree in something which is relevant to sustainability. So that's physical or political sciences, economics, geography, engineering, or experience using quantitative methods. This could be in your, if you do not have a degree in one of those areas, but you do have significant work experience in a relevant field, so 2 or 3 years minimum is usually what we'd say, we can still consider you for the course. You will also be required to provide a personal statement and references, and I would encourage you to spend time on your personal statement, looking at really demonstrating to us why you're interested in our course, and specifically how your background, your experiences, your work, your volunteering, things that you've seen or experienced in your life relates to our program and to what we study. If you have particular modules or module leads, academics in our department you would like to work with, we love to read about that. Because partly because it is interesting, but also because it shows us that you understand the program that you are applying to. Just so if we could have the next slide, please. Thank you. I just want to wrap up today by talking about the differences between the 3 master's programs that you've heard about. So there are obviously some areas of overlap where together we're addressing sustainability, but we're doing it from slightly different perspectives. So if you want to focus more on energy and you have the quantitative background or quantitative interests to do more kind of economics and modeling, then the economics and policy of energy and the environment masters is likely to suit you best. If you want to do more in terms of business, innovation, entrepreneurship, management, systems thinking, and you want to take a more qualitative or discursive approach, then the business and sustainability masters is likely to suit you better. If you want to focus on resources, particularly in resource management, if you're interested in sort of technical tools like life cycle assessment or material flow analysis or circular economy, then sustainable resources, economics, policy and transitions is likely to suit you best. And although you don't need to have a quantitative background to do sustainable resources, you may find it easier if you do. And together we are really, we do have a lot of interaction between students from the 3 different programs. We have events throughout the year where all the students in the Institute for Sustainable Resources come together and meet. We run our careers events, many of our alumni events, and various kinds of socials throughout the year together. So you will have the opportunity to meet and discuss your classes with students from other parts of the Institute. And we hope share kind of learning and networks both while you're at university, but also as alumni once you have graduated. So yeah, so I'll wrap it up there.